Alan, how you doing?
How are you?
Thanks for waiting, sir.
Good. I actually have a few jokes first. How did God create heaven and earth in 6 days? Well, there's actually three answers. One, he didn't use any Microsoft software. Second is, he screwed around for 5 days and then pulled an all-nighter. And the third answer is, he didn't have an installed base. So the fact that we're here means I think that we get to argue these things. I do have some things to quibble with you about, and then I'd like to get to my assertion.
Sure.
First of all, you can not only be explanatory, but you can also be predictive with math. So I just want to point that out. You can't be prescriptive.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Predictions are great.
Predictive. That's certainly true.
Yes.
Second thing is, have you read Lee Strobel's books?
I've read. Well, I was going to say I've read all of them.
Good,
I don't know that that's
great.
the case
because that's what I'm going to argue from. I'm a former atheist, former hardcore atheist, I might add too as well. So,
wow, you're really
well, I found God or He found me. So here goes. All set?
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're not nearly as smart as you think, nor am I. But be that as it may, let's get down to this, okay?
Sure.
What do you consider to be evidence?
I think I pretty much just answered that a minute ago.
I'll give you a few examples. Corroborative, archaeological, historical. There are those types of evidence also as well.
It depends.
And I do use the legal terms.
As Tracy just pointed out, it very much depends on what it is that you're trying to prove.
It does.
As to what types of evidence you're going to accept.
Yeah, so for example, when somebody says, I want to prove God exists, the first question is, they have to demonstrate what it is they're calling God, and then they also have to demonstrate a measurable, demonstrable, verifiable manifestation, because that's what existence is.
I'm with you on that. And by the way, I should tell you, I went a year to Caltech, and so I'm not unfamiliar with science, too, as well. So if you want to talk about space-time warpage, that's fine with me, but that's not my point.
I'd rather not. Let's stick to Strobel, because I've already debunked everything he said.
Is that there is a God, and it is a Christian one, okay? So that's what I'm going to seek to try to convince you of. Is that okay?
Sure.
It's not okay. I mean,
Go for
you're
it.
free to assert it.
Asked me what kind of God I believe in. I've just said.
I understand that.
Perfect.
I understand that, but for clarity, when you say God and the Christian God,
yes,
not all Christian God versions are the same. For example,
I'm with you on that.
And I still don't know what the referent is. I just know
I won't make you dig through characteristics right now because I want to get on to what you're actually saying.
So let's just assume that we're talking about the early Christian God, the early writings. Is that okay with you? That's the assertion I'm making. So here goes some proof, right? First of all, how do you explain? First of all, I submit as evidence the book of the New Testament, specifically Mark, Matthew, John, and Luke, and also the writings
of Paul,
Josephus, who was a historian who was not certainly Christian.
Okay, let me pause you right there.
Certainly.
You're submitting the Gospels and Josephus as evidence for the existence of God or the existence of Jesus or Jesus' divinity?
Actually, the existence of God, the existence of the existence of Jesus Christ, and the fact that he claimed, which was
so all three. So then let me go ahead and kind of ask this because I think we can nip this in the bud right now.
It's a fairly long discussion, but
no,
it's
okay. It's a really short discussion, and here's why. First of all, we can get rid of Josephus because Josephus was not a contemporary to Jesus by any historical account. So
actually, I think that he lived within 20 years of his.
That's not a contemporary.
I'm not done. He lived within 20 years of his death, and the people that were around that saw his miracles lived far after he died.
Okay.
Right?
Can I go ahead and finish?
There were thousands of them, actually.
Yes.
Right?
So we've
heard.
According
to the stories.
Can you name any of them? Do we have any eyewitness accounts from any of them? Here's my point. That was redundant. That was redundant. Alan.
Absolutely.
Alan, God. Oh, Alan, that was redundant.
Rhetorical.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
You there? That was a rhetorical question. I want to get to this because I can nip this in the bud right now.
You can't nip this in the bud.
God, can I frickin' try?
Well, sure.
Okay.
You can certainly try.
Who wrote the Gospels? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Well, okay, so now you get into Q and all that kind of stuff, but certainly the Gospels of St. Paul were written by Paul, who was Saul.
There is no Gospel of St. Paul. Those are the epistles of Paul.
I understand that. You're playing semantical games.
No, I'm
semantic.
not playing semantics.
A gospel is a very different
I put you
thing
on
than
hold.
a letter.
I suggested Paul. You said the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Josephus. And I'm explaining why I can discount those, and I'll be happy to explain why I can discount Paul as well. We have no idea who wrote the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, at all. We have no autographed copies. We do know, at least we believe through generally good scholarship, around when they were written. And none of them were written at any time while Jesus was alive, and none of them were written by eyewitnesses. They're written by people who are reporting hearsay. Josephus, also, decades after Jesus reportedly died, and reportedly resurrected, if you buy those stories, also never met Jesus, never, was not alive during that time. And the one passage, there are two passages, within Josephus's works that mention Jesus. One of them is a quick blurb that says James, the brother of Jesus. That one's generally accepted to be legitimate. The second one, which is the Testimonium Flavius, which says about this time there was a man by the name of Jesus and he was good, whatever, and it goes on to call him, he was the Messiah. Those are words that could not have been spoken by a Pharisaic Jew, and it is generally conceded, even by Christian scholars, that this is at best a partial, if not complete interpolation by late Christians. Paul also never met Jesus. You can make a claim about his Damascus Road experience, where he ran into the spirit of zombie Jesus. But what we have are a collection of stories about stories. They are writings from people who believed this about stories. They are not evidence for the truth, the veracity of the individual stories. You cannot, and even if we had first-hand eyewitness accounts, as we do, for example, from alien abductees, who constantly say, and there are more than one of them, it's not just a lone person out here,
right.
There are groups of people, couples, families, selections of people that say, yes, we were abducted by aliens. We can actually go and physically talk to those people right now. If we didn't, and we let their stories build, and someone in 20 or 30 years, even in today's society, decided to write about them, those writings wouldn't be worth the paper they're printed on with regard to determining the accuracy of those reports. And that's in today's society.